Good morning, this is Deborah Matthews, Vicar of Verwood. I've often spoken about how important it is for us to talk to each other, whether that is within our own households or with friends and family or at work. The pandemic has made this particularly difficult for everyone in every situation, but there are many things which get in the way of proper conversations these days. People are too busy to stand and chat, and move off with promises of catch you later, knowing that we probably won't have more time later either. However, many of us do find the time to send messages on our phones. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They are a great way to keep in touch and make arrangements that don't require a conversation, but they are no substitute for making time to talk to each other. In church, we have been worshipping together since July 2020, as we've gone back into the building. But we have only gone back recently to some face-to-face opportunities to meet. Having coffee together means that we can sit down around a table and catch up. Life has changed a great deal over these last 18 months, and it has been particularly difficult for those who have been bereaved during this time. Social media cannot replace face-to-face contact, and it does not figure highly in the lives of some older members of the community either. It's good to talk over the phone, but that can disguise how we feel. We can sound okay and say we are fine, but seeing each other's faces can be much more revealing about how we really are. When we are feeling lonely and isolated, a text message is not as comforting as meeting with someone for a chat. This week we have heard about one of the largest outages ever on Facebook. And for those of you like me who didn't know what an outage was, it means a period when a power supply or other service is not available, or when equipment is closed down. And I must admit to being quite pleased that I hadn't even noticed that Facebook, Instagram or WhatsApp were unavailable, although billions of other users had. Apparently, the disruption to the service was caused by technical issues, which I won't attempt to go into as I don't understand the technology. But basically, it seems that the Facebook systems were not able to talk to each other. So even computers need to be able to communicate with each other. As Christians, we need to be able to talk to God. We have the same reasons for not spending time in God's presence as we do for not meeting up with our friends. We are too busy. When we are in church together, we have the opportunity to pray together, but we also need to make time for our individual prayers, our own conversations with God. When we stop talking to people, we lose touch with them, and the same applies to us when we stop talking to God. God knows us and never loses touch with us, but for us to be helped by God, we must recognise that we need to be in the conversation. God is waiting for us to be part of that, to come with our troubles, our sin, our prayers for others and for ourselves, and our thanks. I often find when I pray that things do fall into place. I hear what I need to hear, and the pressures that well up inside of me, with that continual barrage of busyness, are released. And I learnt another new word this week, or two words actually, cognitive overload. And it's something to be guarded against in the classroom, but I feel it is also something that many of us suffer from. There is so much information coming at us today through social media and TV and advertisements which are designed to divert us from the task in hand, and it all becomes too much to process. I know when I'm looking online for some information that I am easily distracted by news, articles and adverts which lead on from one thing to another, and then it can be some time before I recall what I was supposed to be looking up in the first place. So whilst I am still thankful for all the advantages of the internet and social media, I am committed to keep my screen time down. So when I am tempted to look at my phone, I'm going to spend that moment with God. Then instead of more information I don't need, that moment will enable me to de-scramble the cognitive overload and bring me some direction and some peace. I'll be back in 2 weeks, and in the meantime, I hope you have no outages or any cognitive overload, and may the Lord bring you peace. God bless.